focusing on the colors that unite us. USA!
Hello, America. Pastor Mark Burns here, and I'm just so happy that you're tuned in with me here on the Colors That Unite. I am so thankful that you're here, and I'm really excited about the dialogue that we're going to have today. There's several couple of issues that are dear to my heart, and I really want to talk about them. Again, I'm not going to get into name calling or name bashing of the Secretary Hillary Clinton. I don't think I have to do that to prove my point, but I do want to talk about facts. And there are two things that are very dear to me, because for those of you who know, I'm pro-life. I love babies, and I pray that those of you that are watching, you love babies too. You love children, unborn children. They have a life just like they should have an opportunity to live just like you and I. And I was a little shocked as my research assistant was just sharing with me Secretary Clinton's one of her recent interviews with the secular show called The View. Everybody's familiar with The View. And, excuse me, she was a guest on this. And one of the questions that the hostess asked her was in reference to a comment that was that Secretary Clinton did. Secretary Clinton had stated before that unborn children do not have constitutional rights. And for me, I'm just floored. According to the law, and it is true, unborn children do not have constitutional right. Therefore, it is left up to a woman to decide if this child that is born, even up to an hour of being born, even up to 1 hour of being born, is in the hands of the mother, and that person has the right to terminate the life of this child. So what I want to talk about today, and I want to put it to you, the viewers, the question that was asked to her on The View: when does an unborn child have constitutional rights? I want to talk about it. Again, I know what the law states, but do you agree with it? Do you agree that an unborn child does not have constitutional right? Therefore, the child can be, as she called it, she called it an unborn baby as a person, the person. She classified unborn babies as a person. This person does not have constitutional right, which I just no sympathy whatsoever. It's just so sad that it doesn't seem to be any sympathy. That, I guess that's the best way. And we are allowing this kind of a law to lead our country. I want you to join into the conversation, 864-373-0001. We want to talk about it. When does an unborn child have constitutional rights? And do you agree that an unborn child, especially a child that is about to be born, up to 1 hour of being born, up to 1 hour of being born, do they have a constitutional right? I want you to call me, 864-373-0001. I was a little floored and flabbergasted to just how, I don't know, it just seemed to be so insensitive to the child. And, Hillary Clinton, she said, this person, so she realizes the fact that she calls it a person, she realizes and recognizes as a human life. And so for me, I think it was the fact that she considers an unborn child a person. and says, for me, she believes it is a human life. It's a human person. But they do not have constitutional right here in the United States of America, according to Wade versus Roe. And of course, everyone in the audience on The View celebrated, and they celebrated Hillary Clinton's answer of standing behind the Roe versus Wade. I want you to call me and tell me what you think. And again, do you think a child, especially up to 1 hour been born, when is the cutoff point? And for mothers who are out there, we have Scott from Arizona on the show. Scott from Arizona, welcome to the Colors That Unite. Scott, welcome to the show.
Hi, Pastor. How you doing?
I'm doing great. Welcome to the show. When does an unborn child have constitutional rights?
I think it happens at conception and even before that, because the good Lord says that He knew us before we were in the womb. He knows everything about us before we were even born. And That's what I want to say about that.
Absolutely, Scott. I 100% agree with you. Life begins at conception. How do we, tell me something. Again, why is it that, so many people who believe that, but why are we allowing Roe versus Wade? Why are we even allowing, the death? And I call it the murder. We want to sugarcoat it and call it abortion because it makes us feel better. But the murder of children, help me understand that, Scott.
That's right. Well, the problem is humans get involved here. And God's ways aren't our ways and vice versa, and people just don't understand how it works, in my opinion.
How do we relate that politically? I mean, again, this country, according to the latest statistic, is 75% Christian, consider themselves Christian. Why, if we are 75% Christian, why are we allowing, again, the murder of millions of babies every year?
I think that Satan's involved here. I do. I think it's Satan getting involved in people's lives and whatnot. If you read the Bible and you believe it, you'll know that that's a bunch of bunk is what people think, in my opinion.
Well, I agree with you, Scott. I agree with you, and we have to unite, and that's the whole purpose of the show, is so that we can unite together. I mean, don't you think baby lives matter? I mean, don't you think baby lives matter? I think if we're going to talk about Black Lives Matter, and don't baby lives matter? I mean, we're not even going to get into talking about the implications that it has on Black Americans, and that we are statistically the leading race that aborts children. So you're talking about millions of Black unborn children that could have been future doctors, future lawyers, future scientists. They could have had the cure for cancer. I didn't even want to talk about it. When does an unborn child have constitutional rights? Sean is on the show. Sean is our next caller. Thank you, Sean, for calling in to the Colors That Unite. Sean, are you there?
Yes, Pastor. This is such an important conversation. Thank you so much for the Spirit guiding you and having it. I come from the state of Pennsylvania. I agree with the last caller that absolutely life begins at conception. And coming from the great Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, we had a great leader who's rolling in his grave, the former Governor Casey, who took on Planned Parenthood. I'm one of 7 children, and my mother, God rest her soul, she made sure each and every one of us had a right to life. And I learned that from my parents from an early age, to respect life in all its forms from the beginning. And I think that the unborn, especially in the African-American community, needs to be protected.
Absolutely, 100%. Scott, Sean, you're absolutely right. I'm just flabbergasted even now. I mean, Secretary Clinton said that this person, the unborn person, keep in mind, she classified the unborn child as a person, and she said, quote, that this unborn person does not have constitutional right. And so therefore, we leave it up to the mother to decide whether or not life for this unborn person, that means she classifies it as a life. Okay, you cannot be a person and not be alive. So she therefore know it's alive, and yet this unborn person does not have constitutional right. Anthony from California. Anthony, thank you for calling in to the Colors That Unite. Welcome to the show.
Hi, thank you.
Anthony, when does an unborn child have constitutional rights?
Most definitely. It guarantees it in our Constitution. It says everybody has a right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. And I was just wondering what you thought about that, if you've seen it yet.
You know, I have. Go ahead.
Yeah, they're saying because he lost that money that I guess it's legal for him to not be paying taxes.
Yeah. Well, you know, I have not really dived into it yet. I will tonight, obviously, because the leak just happened. We are gathering the proper information. Of course, I am, because I know I'll be on television this week. The several networks, I think, I'm already scheduled. But you know, in the debate, you know, he's a smart man. I mean, this is part of the problem. He's a smart man. I mean, he is an intelligent businessman and will use the current law that his number one responsibility is first to his company, and number two to his children. Excuse me, I'm sorry. First to his children and his family, then to his company and his employees. And he's going to make sure that the people he's assigned and are responsible to take care of will be taken care of first. And it is with that very same mentality, which is why he will be a good president for us here in America, because we need, as he stated, a president that understands money, that understands the law of the land, and how can we save and make sure that the resources are put back for us as Americans, and not going to foreign countries and go, you know, those globalists who are focused on just putting jobs into other countries and raising the economic value of those places, and not those here in the United States of America. I think we're having technical difficulties. I'm not quite sure. You please just stand by, but I think we're having technical issues here at the studios. I think we have technical issues here. It's not. We're off the air again. Are we still on? Diamond. Yeah, Diamond. I think we're having, yeah, we're having technical issues, Diamond. Thank you. God. Yeah, we're I think there's a problem. We're gonna have to, yeah, yeah. We're not. You got this. Are we still on? Is the camera rolling? Is the camera rolling? That's okay. Okay. No, I'm thinking we're having a problem. It's going in and out. Is the camera still on right now? My God, somebody help me out here. No, the Diamond. Eh, okay, we're off.